Hi, how are you doing today? That is very interesting. Well, today we are at the David Crockett Birthplace State Park in Limestone, Tennessee, and you are looking at the Nola-Chucky River. And today our story is takes place by a river, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. All right, our book that we're reading today is from My Bible Friends, Book 4. Okay, and we are reading a story called The Borrowed Axe. All right, the picture. The boys of Prophet Elisha's school crowded closer together on their benches, trying to make room for the new pupils. But it was no use. There just wasn't room. The boy with the red coat we'll call Jared. Barefooted, Jared had walked many miles that he might attend Prophet Elisha's school, where boys were taught to be teachers for God. But alas, the schoolhouse was far too small. Would Jared and the new pupils have to go home? It's already so crowded. And they want to be in school. When school let out, the boys talked together. What could they do about their too small school? One of the boys pointed toward the river Jordan. The River Jordan. So the river in this story is called the River Jordan. And the river that we're at today is called the Nola-Chucky. Okay. Let's take our axes and go to the river, he said, and cut down trees to build a larger school. It's a good idea, said an older boy. Let's ask Prophet Elisha, to go with us. The other boys agreed, but Jared hung his head. He had no axe and no money to buy one. Could you not borrow an axe? Asked the older boy. So Jared went to a neighbor's house and asked if he might borrow an axe. You may borrow my axe, said the neighbor, if you will take good care of it. I will take good care of your axe, promised Jared. Very good care of it. One morning, when the sun was half up, the boys shouldered their axes and walked with Prophet Elisha down the trail to the River Jordan. The river wound in and out, in and out, in and out, like a snake wiggling through the valley. Here and there on the banks were groves of trees. Tall trees, short trees, crooked trees, and trees that were straight. Each boy chose a tree to cut down. Jared chose one near the river's edge. He swung the borrowed axe and made a cut. Again and again and again he swung the axe with all his might. Pitchy, piney chips flew this way and that. Then suddenly, without warning, the axe head flew off the axe handle. A plop, a splash. It sank out of sight. Jared looked where the axe head had fallen. But the water was too muddy to see it, and too deep to wade in and feel for it. Alas, master, for it was borrowed, he cried to Prophet Elisha. All right, so let's take a moment here. Look down at that river, the Nola-Chucky. Can you see those rocks at the bottom of the river? Those rocks are very heavy, but they're all the way at the bottom. This river is pretty clear. You can see the bottom, but you still might not be able to pick it up. What happened to this axe? It was very heavy. It was made out of iron, so it would sink to the bottom. And this was a much deeper river. The Jordan was very deep, and it was not clear. See, this water is pretty clear. The Jordan River was not very clear. It was muddy, so they couldn't see the axe, and they couldn't go in. It was very deep. They couldn't go in and find the axe, and it was very heavy, so it sunk to the bottom. So how are they going to get the axe back? And he borrowed it. You know, when you borrow something, it's important to take care of it and give it back to the person you borrowed. So what are they going to do? They talked to Prophet Elisha. Where did it fall? Prophet Elisha asked. Jared showed him the place. Prophet Elisha cut down a stick. Then, asking God for help, he threw the stick into the river where the axe head had fallen. The boys watched to see what would happen. They saw the stick floating on the water. And then, what do you think happened? Up, up. Through the muddy water rose the axe head, up to the surface of the water, and there it floated beside the stick. Like a toy boat on the river. Take it up, said Prophet Elisha. Joyfully, Jared splashed in after it. He fastened the axe head tightly to the axe handle and finished cutting down his tree. Oh, wow. So the Lord answered the prayer whenever he made the axe float. Even though it was too heavy like a stone to float, it still floated up to the top because they prayed and asked God so that they could give it back. Wasn't that kind of the Lord? All right. With a push and a pull, the boys dragged the tree logs along the trail. They split the logs into slabs the right size and built a new and larger school. Now, the boys wouldn't be too crowded. There would be room enough for all. No one would have to go home. They could all stay at Prophet Elisha's school and learn to be teachers for God. All right, the end. Okay, well, I hope that you enjoyed that story and that you are having a good day. I hope that you enjoyed looking at some of the Nolichucky River here, and we'll see you next time. Bye.